Hi, I wanted to make this video. I felt like I needed to do a video version of this post that I wrote last week. For those of you who haven't been following the news, there were several shootings, one in Louisiana and one in Minnesota, and then there was a retaliation shooting in Dallas where several officers were killed, and it broke my heart to just see kind of the way that the world is responding to these. And one of the main reasons is because I'm from Dallas and I love that part of the world. It was home for several years, and to see a place that I love so much be so affected by violence and hatred was really disheartening. And this isn't the first time that this has become a problem, and the first time that I felt kind of helpless as I watched these things unfold in our country and across the world. And so last week I finally felt like the time had come to actually say something and to put some of my thoughts and feelings into words. And so I wrote this post, and I want to get some of these thoughts and feelings on video because I feel that sometimes it's more powerful to speak the words than it is to just write them down, because there's a lot of context that's lost in just writing. So this is, I guess, my spoken word version of that. So I want you to imagine for a minute that the world, all 7+ billion people, are on one giant schoolyard. And in the middle of this schoolyard, there's a massive battlefield. And this battlefield there's millions of kids in the middle. And it's ruled by chaos and violence and destruction and hatred. And those things seem to be the only way that kids are communicating with each other in the middle. And on the outside of this massive battlefield, there are billions watching, riveted to what's happening on the inside. It seems like all focus is right there. And as we stand there terrified, there's bombs flying, things are exploding. And there's not really any sides, there's just little fractions that are fighting each other, and there's enemies and allies, and treaties are created and destroyed, and things are negotiated, and we're just watching this all kind of stunned from the outside. And all of our attention is focused on that, and occasionally, well, more often than not, the bombs and the bullets will miss their mark, instead flying past the violence to hit the innocent people standing on the outside. And we flinch when the concussion is so close that we can feel it shake our bones. And with tears streaming down our face, we run to the aid of the peoples whose lives just became collateral damage. Doing what we can, but feeling helpless. Occasionally, one kid, or 5 kids, or 10, or even 100 kids will get fed up, and they'll run into the middle with their makeshift weapons raised, trying desperately to stop the violence. And we watch them get slaughtered, barely even causing a blip, barely making a dent and we feel like the cost of doing something is too high, so we continue to stand on the outside. More often than not, we want to do something, but we're terrified of what it means to be retaliated, because usually those who speak up become a target. And whether the weapons are words, or bombs, or bullets, we'd rather not be in the crosshairs. Now, occasionally there's somebody on the outside that gets hit, and they can see the person who threw the thing that hurt them. And they step into the center and they begin to beat on everyone on the outside that looks like the person that hurt them. They beat on them if they're wearing the same shirt, if they're wearing the same shoes, if they have the same skin color, if they have the same name, if they choose the same religion as the person that hurt them. And then those people start beating up on the people who look like the first guy that got hurt. And it just perpetuates this cycle of violence. And I'm standing here on the outside and I'm feeling completely scared. Because what is one voice? One is one voice against billions. But like the proverb says, actions speak louder than words. And suddenly, something jostles me to my left or to my right. And my attention is drawn away from the violence in the middle, from all of the horror that's happening in front of me. And I turn my eyes to the side. And I notice that I'm surrounded by my friends, by my family, and by members of my community that I know and love. And we're all standing here, riveted to the violence in front of us, completely disconnected from each other, even suspicious of each other. In an instant, I choose to stop focusing on the violence. Instead, I walk up to my neighbor, the person standing next to me. I walk up to you, and I say, I whisper, take my hand, and I startle you. But suddenly you're not looking at the violence anymore either. You're looking at me. And I see you. I see the good person that you are. I see that you are just as scared as me, and you can see that in me. And so you take my hand, and we stand there, and we've created a new space of unity, of connection, of love. And we just sit in that space for a minute. And then we turn to the person next to us. And we each say, take my hand. And the unity and that connection and that love begins to spread. Now, I'm going to be completely honest. I have no idea what the long-term impact of this kind of choice is. But I know that it has the potential to change the world, because if we, the billions of people that are standing outside the violence, too scared to move, if we stop seeing each other as the labels that we wear, we will start to become one massive community that can actually do something positive to stop the violence. We'll begin to reach out to the people on the outside of that circle, and we'll begin to be able to close ranks, slowly absorbing the violence into the love. And there's going to be people that hate us for it. There's going to be people that try and fight harder, that try to destroy what we're trying to do. But when there's 100 of us to one of them, there's no way for them to kill all of us. There's no way for them to destroy that movement. So really, this is my invitation to you, because this is the thing that I want to do. I want to ask you to please take my hand. Please choose to see the similarities between you and the person that you don't know before you see the differences. And when you do see differences, learn about them. Learn about them first. Because when you learn about the differences, you discover the similarities. We are one race. Doesn't matter what your gender is. Doesn't matter what your sexuality, your religion, your ethnic origin. Doesn't matter what your job is, where you live, what language you speak. I don't care what your identifiers are. Those are merely labels. The only label that matters is human. We are human. And choosing first to love means that we are choosing to stop the violence. So forever, my goal is to find as many people who are different than me and to find the similarities. And I'm going to be putting up posts with a hashtag #TakeMyHand as I highlight people and do interviews and learn as much as I can about the people who are different than me. Because again, like I said, when you learn about people that are different than you, you are going to find the reasons they're the same. Whether they're disabled, whether they're 50 years older, it doesn't matter what the differences are. You are human. I am human. This is what it means to choose love over hate. And you choose to look into somebody's eyes and say, I see you. I see that you experience pain, that you experience joy, that you experience life in the same way I do. Your preferences may be different, but you're human, which makes you the same as me. So I ask you to take my hand and let's change the world. It's been said that evil wins when good men do nothing, but good things happen when people choose to love.